Hey guys, I am Ian K, and in this video I wanted to do a champion showcase on one of the newer champions that came out recently that I thought had a pretty interesting kit for Clan Boss. So the champion I'm talking about is this new champion. Where is she? Here. Urticata, however you pronounce her name. So this is a very unique champion indeed. She looks unique and she also has a very unique skill kit. So essentially, to me, she is essentially a poisoner, like a dedicated poisoner for single target, and single target usually means clan boss. So she has the ability to place hex, attacks 4 times, and each hit has a 50% chance to place hex. The second ability, attack 3 times, and each hit has a 50% chance with books to place poison sensitivity. And her first A1 has the ability to attack 2 times and has a 30% chance to increase the duration of poison debuff, 2 poison debuff by 1 turn. And how her kit functions is through her passive. So when she places a hex on an enemy, any one of your champions, so in Clan Boss, any 5 of your champions that attacks with a critical hit has a chance to place, 25% chance to place poison. So she essentially works in a counter attack or unkillable team that attacks a lot of times. So when each champion attack, they place poison, and then when she attacks with her A1, she can extend those poisons. So this is a very roundabout way to place poisons, but I'm interested to test her out to see how well she works compared to other dedicated poisoners such as Frozen Banshee or even Occult Brawler. So for her masteries, it's a pretty basic mastery, the standard Giant Slayer Clan Boss mastery, since she does a lot of hits, like 3 hits, 4 hits, and 2 hits. So a standard Giant Slayer mastery, and then I have her in a defense tree. You could go the support tree to increase duration of the debuff and poisons as well. It's up to you, but this is just my preference. So unfortunately for gear, I have her geared right now in an unkillable setup. I didn't have her geared for the normal standard killable counterattack setup, but in that comp I pretty much geared her with a standard 4K plus defense with the increased defense because I paired her with an increased defense champion with 100% crit rate since she needs to crit to apply the poison, enough accuracy, and then as much crit rate and crit damage as possible. But yeah, let's go and start out with the first video. Alright, so this is the first video. I have her in a standard, again, counter-attack team with just pretty basic champions. Like I had Sepulcher, Skullcrusher for counter-attack, Godseeker to extend the buffs, and Razin for decreased defense and weaken, as well as some DPS. So this is a standard 4 to 3 Sepulcher to place blunt debuff for the AoEs, affinity debuff, as well as the stun. And then the setup just run as usual in a counter-attack setup. So nothing special here. I have this speed tune in the video description if you're interested in building a similar team. You can obviously use better champions if you have a better champions, but this is just a very basic setup. So if you notice the debuff bar, unlike the other poisoners like Frozen Banshee or Occult Brawler, the debuff bar is not always fully stacked with poison. So it's sometimes is, but for the most part, it's not usually stacked up with poisons. So we'll see how she performs. So it looks like we're doing about 1 million per turn in damage. So not bad, pretty decent. And we can see Urticata dying pretty shortly since she's almost getting one shot with the AoEs. And do notice that this is a negative affinity for Urticata, so she does get quite a bit of weak hits as well. But we'll see how she performs. So she dies right there. So by turn 40, she dies, and then this is where she will continuously die with Godseeker kind of just cycling to revive her, but she never gets to attack anyway. So this is kind of where it ends for her. So I slowed down the run now, so it's going to be, the run will be ending soon. Everyone is close to dying. And this is Ultra Nightmare, by the way, if I haven't said that before. All right, that's it. The run ended at 48.86 million, and I'll here are the damage, but I'll go over like their damage breakdown at the after the Frozen Banshee run. So right now I'm testing Frozen Banshee. Everyone is in the exact same gear. Frozen Banshee is also in the same or similar gear to Urticata. Since she has lower base stats, since she's a rare, so her stats is a little lower, but in pretty much the exact same gear. So now we'll just do a comparison to see how much difference in terms of damage that both of these poisoners do in Clan Boss. So in this case, Frozen Banshee has to be is a I guess a neutral affinity, so she won't get any weak hits, so all her poisons will be up. So similarly, this comp is also doing about 1 to 1, 1 million damage per turn. So in terms of damage, it looks like both of them are pretty similar. Okay, so this is where Frozen Banshee dies, and then once again it will go through the cycle of reviving. Godseeker will go through the cycle of reviving Frozen Banshee, but she'll never get a chance to attack anyway. So this is all just a four-man show from now on. So Sepulcher also died, so yeah, this run will be ending soon. All right, so that's the end of the run. So this comp did 48.2 million. So it was slightly less than the Urticata comp. So here are the damage breakdowns. So in the Frozen Banshee comp, since Frozen Banshee is the sole poisoner, she did 12.5 million in terms of poison. Razin almost doing 14 million, Godseeker 10.5, Skullcrusher 5, Sepulcher about 6. So this will be the baseline damage comparison for all the four champions as well as Frozen Banshee. So if we look at the Urticata damage, so Urticata did less. She did about 11 million in terms of damage, but keep in mind that the poison that she does, like from her passive, whenever any champion crits, they place the poison. Those damage will be tied to those champion that place the poison, not her. So that's why her damage is on the lower end, but it's only about 1.5 million lower than Frozen Banshee, which means that she, as a champion, does more raw damage compared to Frozen Banshee because she has multi hits and she does a Giant Slayer, so which usually results in more damage on average. So if we compare Godseeker, Godseeker did slightly less here, about 1 million less, but Razin, he did about 1.2 million extra. So that is due to the poison, and because he is a triple hitter, so he has more chance to place poison. So 1.2 million extra from the poison. Skullcrusher did almost exactly the same damage, and the same Sepulcher. Sepulcher did has a really big jump. She almost jumped about a 2.2 million damage there, which could be attributed to the poisons that she placed from Urticata's passive. So in total, we have about 3.2 million extra from poisons. So overall, Urticata did more damage than Frozen Banshee in terms of like the overall team damage. But as a sole poisoner on her own, she definitely did less. But overall, as a team, she is better than Frozen Banshee. Of course, this depends on the affinity as well. So the um, Urticata is negative affinity, so she actually performed worse here. She could perform better on other affinity, but I'm not sure since I haven't tested it in other affinity yet. But Frozen Banshee, that's a flaw of using Frozen Banshee. One of her negatives is that she will tank hard on Force Affinity if she doesn't place her poison sensitivity, so she can't place the poisons. All right, so I'm moving on to the next test now in the Unkillable Test. So for the Unkillable Test, I'll be doing it live right here since my client boss is currently on the Force Affinity. I can't use Frozen Banshee since, as I mentioned, she's not good in Force, so I will test her. Um, the comp in the Unkillable comp with Occult Brawler instead. So this is just a standard easy double man-eater Unkillable team. So I have Martyr. By the way, this is also a debut of my Martyr. I just recently pulled her, and this is my first time using her on Clan Boss. Let's see if I need any other. Okay, so these are the stats. So Martyr, I have her built pretty high, stacked in damage, 5.4k defense, crit rate, crit damage, and I believe she was also in Fatal gear, so it's the Savage equivalent. And she doesn't, because she doesn't need any accuracy to place the debuffs, she doesn't need to place the decreased defense since we have it with Razin already. So 171, we have the Maneaters 191, sorry, 219, 214, and then Razin 172 with enough accuracy, crit rate, crit damage, and then Urticata also built with damage now. She doesn't need survivability anymore, so almost 5k attack, 163 speed, 100% crit rate, 250 crit damage, and enough accuracy. So all the champions here have 100% crit rate. Alright, so I'll start the run now. So we'll do the initial setup phase. So the easy double man-eater has a 6 turns manual setup phase, so we'll just have to go through them right now. Alright, so it should be auto from here. I guess unfortunate that all 3 of her Hex got resisted right there, so there will be one wave of no poisons. Alright, so that is it for the Unkillable team. So looking at their damage, we have about 15 million on Rosin, about 16 from Urticata, and about 10.5 from Martyr, and 8 million from both Maneater. So surprisingly, Urticata did the most damage here. Martyr did not do as much damage as I thought. So thinking about it, Martyr is probably not that good in unkillable comps, but she does offer the counter attack. But yeah, so these are the damage breakdowns. Then I will re-gear my Occult Brawler to make a test to see how well he performs compared to Urticata in this same unkillable comp. Alright, so I've re-geared my Occult Brawler in roughly the same stats as the Urticata before. So he has about 4.75k attack, 250% crit damage, crit rate, and enough accuracy to place his poisons. I'm thinking if I want to use this skill or not, but I think maybe I'll just leave it on so he'll use it. Okay, so yeah, so I'll just start the fight and I'll go into the setup and then we'll see how they compare. So I'll do the setup right now. All right, so it's auto from here, so let's just let the run go and we'll see how much damage he does. All right, so there you have it. So it looks like a cult brawler is way better in terms of a poisoner as well as a damage dealer for the unkillable comp compared to Urticata. So in terms of damage, it looks like surprisingly all the other champions actually did more damage. So I'm kind of a bit confused as to why. Maybe it was just really unlucky. They didn't get enough poison procs from Urticata's passive. So that might be it. But in any case, Occult Brawler definitely showed that he did way more damage than Urticata without any reliance on RNG. So it looks like in terms of the Unkillables setup, she's probably not that good. Urticata is not that good. Uh, but yeah, but anyway, it seems that if you have Frozen Banshee or Occult Brawler, it's probably just better to use them instead of Urticata. It doesn't look like she is that good, to be honest. But if you don't have either of them, then she is an option for a decent poisoner. All right, so yeah, thank you for watching. Um, Goodbye.